What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Optimize You podcast. We are the podcast helping you optimize feeling and looking your best every single week. If you're new to the podcast, make sure you subscribe. If you're not new, make sure you share it with a friend, coworker, family member. We appreciate all the help. And now in today's podcast. We are back with another solo podcast today. What I'm going to talk about are a few things. So expectations and really like what you focus on, because I've seen this really impact my life heavily over the years, but especially this year, really. I think it's so crazy how just life is like a roller coaster, right? You have these periods of time where you feel like you're crushing it, you're moving, you're everything you do, you're just being successful in different things. You're moving the needle in different areas of your life, and then maybe you have different dips or different things that are dipping, while other areas are you're moving forward in, right? And so I think something that comes up time and time again for me personally is expectations, right? The expectations that I set, whether I'm even setting them, right? It's like sometimes we just have a visual of it, and I see it come in within like the way I look or the way I feel or the way like my exercise routine and the foods I eat, stuff like that. I think it's easy for me being like struggling with perfectionism and trying to always like be like rigid and super strict with things. It's easy for me to think that I need to be perfect with stuff, right? When in reality, when I think I need to be perfect with things, like even stuff that I preach, like balance and different stuff, it's like I eat more candy, and it's like, oh, that goes against, when that's actually what I want. Like what I think I should be doing is I should be mixing in candy. Like I love that I can eat candy every day and still look good and feel good, right? But then sometimes I look at myself in the mirror, I don't like what I see, and then I set these expectations almost internally that, oh, I need to tighten the screws a bit, and I need to really dial it in, when maybe I was just tired from a night of not great sleep. Maybe I'm just bloated because I ate like some more like high sodium foods last night, or ate a bigger dinner, or I ate this or that. And generally what I found is over the course of the week, it steadies out, and it's like, oh yeah, we look good. Like one day we look good. One day it's like, oh, I'm a little bit more bloated today. It's like you kind of have that cycle. And it's easy to kind of focus on drastic things, but I think expectations, just as far as anything, like career wise, like in everything, I've had these expectations that I need to be so good and like I need to strive for the best. But really, like that can be beneficial. But I think it's important too to just have expectations like that you're gonna put in the most effort, right? That you like almost like realistic expectations where it's like, you know what, like I know that I can do this, and that's maybe my ceiling goal, but I'm going to set a goal that's a little bit below that as well, right? Or I'm going to have expectations for what I need to do on a regular basis to reach that goal be manageable, right? It's not like I'm going to work out 7 days a week and I'm going to walk for an hour a day and I'm going to eat like 90% whole foods. Like it's like those type of expectations for your day are pretty unrealistic for most people. Maybe some people it works well, right? But for most people, that's pretty unrealistic. Maybe lowering those to like, I'm going to go on a 30-minute walk a day, and I'm going to get 3 workouts in a week, or, whatever. Make sure that what our expectations that we're setting are attainable for us. Because if we continue to set these expectations that we can never reach, and I've been there where it's like, I'm just continuing to try to reach these and I continue to push it. Like I when I'm like reaching it, it's like I push it up and I push it up and I push it up, and it's never good enough. And it's like, oh, this is what we're doing now. So now the ceiling's there, and this is what we're doing. And you just continue chasing your tail because you can never amount to what you're trying to amount to. When in the end, I think with expectations, it's important to give yourself grace and understand that like these things that we're doing aren't always going to, there's different weeks are going to be harder than other weeks. Different days are going to be harder than other days. I think what I found within health and fitness is a lot of people try to set like super unrealistic daily goals, right? It's like, I need to do this and that. And it's almost thought of that one needs to do so much more than they need to achieve their results, right? And the reason why I think that is because people do all of these things but they're so unattainable on a regular basis that they fall off. And so then they think almost like more is needed, when in the nature of it is that less is really needed. It's like, oh, when you're trying to get yourself to work out every day and move every day and eat perfectly every day and sleep for 8 hours and do all these things and drink a gallon of water, and like you set all of these goals for yourself and all of these expectations for your day, then what you're really doing to yourself when you don't achieve that is you're diminishing your confidence, right? And so the confidence just continues to tick down and down and down, right? And so doesn't it make a little bit more sense if you set goals that you know are attainable, right? Or at least like maybe there's like a perfect day scenario where it's like, okay, my perfect day is that I want to walk for 45 minutes and I want to get a workout in, and I want to eat this amount of protein and whatever, right? I would challenge you not to have more than maybe like 3 or so like habits that you're like, maybe like 2 to 3 habits that you're working on at one period of time to build. Now you could have like 5 other ones that you've already nailed, right? That you have on your daily list, but they're like second nature at this point. But you can have that like ceiling, that like perfect day, but then have that like shit hit the fan day, like expectations, where it's like, I'm going to move for 15 minutes and I'm going to prioritize protein in every meal, and I'm going to drink however much water, right? It's like you can have these like worst day scenario, worst, like tough shit hits the fan, like tough day, didn't expect this stuff to happen type of day, where you're still going to be able to move the needle forward, but these expectations are attainable, right? Now, that's what I challenge my clients to do is to understand that, okay, there's these habits that we're working on, right? But understand that there's going to be maybe a week where you're sick, or your kid's sick, or like you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off. And it's easy to neglect everything that you're doing on those weeks, right? But that's the last thing we want to do, right? Because then those weeks, just instead of maybe being a week where we're just going to do what we can, we're just going to like just kind of the alarms going off, and we're just going to keep doing some things that are going to keep us moving forward and keep giving us some wins and some confidence. It's going to build it. Those weeks can be a complete diminishing of confidence, right? And so that's something that I think can be beneficial for everybody, is, having those habits and those expectations for yourself on a perfect day in a regular week, but then having those like shit hits the fan expectations that you can go to, or those shit hits the fans habits, that these are my 3 non-negotiables no matter what, every single day. And then it's not like this whole just continuous roller coaster of, oh yeah, I did my stuff this day and then I did nothing these 2 days because it was really hard. And then I did my stuff this day and then I did nothing on these 3 days because it was super hard and I was super busy. It's like, well, when we kind of back up a lot of times, it's easy to just kind of get stuck in that all or nothing mindset. But a lot of times, if you think about it, these things, like these small things that we need to do to feel good and to give ourselves confidence and to give ourselves wins and momentum, it takes like maybe 30, 45 minutes, right? It's not like that much. It's like, oh, I'm going to go on a walk for 15 minutes. Some days, like honestly, I try to get workouts in most days just because I do like shorter workouts right now, where I'll do a walk in the morning, right? Maybe I'll do like a 15 to 30 minute walk, and then I'll do like a 15 to 30 minute workout, right? That's 30 to 60 minutes, right? And then throughout the day, I'm just trying to make like good choices most of the time when it comes to food. And then I eat dessert, right? And about 70% of my food probably comes from quality whole foods, and 30% comes from dessert and candy and like not as quality stuff, which is good. That's what works for me, right now in this season of life. And that's the balance that I want, is I want to be able to mix in those things. I want to be able to have dessert when I go out. I want to be able to have certain things throughout the week that I enjoy eating, right? But like that commitment that I'm taking isn't that much. And honestly, like if it's like comes down to water, I'm always like drinking water. That's a natural habit. Like that's just a second nature habit. Sometimes I probably overdo it, right? But that is a huge challenge of this podcast for anybody listening, is to, like, if you don't already, right, find just the perfect day habits that you need to do. Don't work on too much, right? Because I think that expectation as well is like, sometimes we have this expectation we need to do 7 things, right? We are working on 7 habits, but we can't do like, that's just not like, we can't do that. Maybe we can do that for a week or 2 or 3 or 4, but eventually we're going to fall off, right? Eventually we're going to fall off. So I challenge you to work on 2 to 3 at a time, right? Try to build 2 to 3 habits at a time and have the perfect day scenario. And then have the shit hit the fan day scenario that is like manageable no matter what happens in your life, where it's like, oh, I'm going to move for 15 minutes and prioritize protein at every meal. That's what I'm going to first think about when I'm building my meals. And I'm going to make sure that I drink X amount of water. And it's like, these 3 things are, whatever it is in your life that you're like, these are the things that help me feel good. These are also manageable on a crazy day where stuff just went nuts and I didn't expect it. And I stayed 2 hours late at work, or, the kids got sick. We ended up having to go bring them in to the doctor. Whatever scenarios happen, you're going to be able to still get through and still check off some wins and feel good about your day. Because that momentum and that confidence is a huge thing when it comes to anything, right? When it comes to any expectations, we need to be able to build that and move forward. That's the foundation of not doing the whole 1 step forward, 2 steps back, constantly making progress and then only to lose it. Having a great week only to have a terrible week the next week and do absolutely nothing. That's where it's like spinning your wheels, right? And so I think that's a huge thing, is just recapping all of this stuff is really expectations are really important, right? With your goals, with what you plan on doing on a regular basis, like the standards that you set for yourself, the habits that you set for yourself. Have a perfect day scenario, have a shit hit the fan scenario, focus on 2 to 3 habits at a time, really simplify everything that you can possibly do, and you'll just continue moving forward, right? And I think that simplicity is key, right? It's so easy to try to do too much. You see all these people who are maybe way ahead of you in the health and fitness game or in a career and whatever. And we feel like we need to like make up all that ground in a week, when it's impossible to make up that much ground when somebody's been doing this for years and decades more than you, right? And so start where you're at, meet yourself where you're at. Don't focus on too much stuff. Just focus on what you can do at that particular period of time. Your lifestyle and your schedule is going to be a lot different than anybody else's out there. If you understand that, and you understand that like you need to cater your own habits and your own day and your own expectations to yourself, not somebody else, then you're going to really start making progress, right? And you're going to start making quicker progress than if you set these crazy expectations, these crazy habits, and these crazy things that you need to do on a daily basis, and you try to do 10 things. All you're going to do is just diminish your confidence when you don't do it and just run yourself into the ground. You're not going to feel good, and you're just going to go farther back. You'll probably go farther back than where you started, right? So baby steps, simplify, have fun with it, enjoy it, cater to yourself, and you're going to keep moving forward, and you're going to find yourself at your goal. Hopefully this has been helpful. I know it's been helpful for me just to talk about it, to kind of refresh myself on some things that I need to really bring back in, right? But I really do appreciate everybody who watches or listens to this podcast every single week. If you enjoyed this one, make sure that you share it with somebody who you think could benefit from it, friend, family member, loved one, whoever it is, and make sure you like and subscribe. But otherwise, really, really appreciate you guys. Hope you have a good rest of the day, good rest of the week. I'll be talking to you soon.